Can you hear me? We apologize for that technical glitches there. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to meet the news on Global Television. Coming to you live from nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anieti Patrick. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. An Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan has affirmed the validity of the November 2025 National Convention of the People's Democratic Party, which produced Kabiru Tanimu Turaki as substantive national chairman. Justice Ladirong Akintola upheld all 13 reliefs sought by the claimants and directed the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize the convention's outcomes, dismissing motions seeking to halt the judgment. The ruling adds to conflicting court decisions over the party's leadership, with appeals pending at the Court of Appeal as internal divisions persist. President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to take immediate action to contain the escalating security situation in Bauchi State. Following a high-level meeting with Governor Bala Mohammed at the State House, Abuja, briefing journalists after the closed-door session, Governor Mohammed said the president responded very positively and had issued directives to security operatives to address the deteriorating crisis, particularly in Al-Kalari local government area. The governor explained that he met with the president on behalf of the people and government of Bauchi State to present an update on the worsening security conditions in the community, where bandits are reported to have occupied ungoverned areas around the Danjuma Dam axis. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has approved the immediate reconstruction of 3 major federal roads in Niger State. The project includes the Mokwa Bida, Mokwa Mekara, and Bida Lambata roads, covering a total of 306.5 kilometers. The roads will be rebuilt using reinforced concrete pavement to ensure durability. The president also approved the extension of the Bodo Boni Road to connect with the East-West Road in Rivers State. The project will be constructed as a dual carriageway with concrete pavement and solar-powered street lighting. Minister of Works David Umahi described the approvals as strategic, saying they will boost connectivity, trade, and economic development across the affected regions. The federal government has endorsed and pledged full support for the Nigeria Press Council's proposed national compendium documenting the economic and tourism potentials of 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance at the presidential villa in Abuja during a courtesy visit by a delegation from the council, led by its Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Dili Ezagwa. The Vice President described the President Bola Tinubu as a long-standing friend of the media and a firm believer in the independence of the press, stressing that the administration has, for almost 3 years, sustained an atmosphere conducive to journalists operating without intimidation. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris has reiterated the federal government's strong commitment to the establishment of state police. The minister made this known at a strategic meeting with the Center for Crisis Communication led by its chairman, Major General Chris Olukolade, retired at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Sadia Yakubu was there for Global TV.
Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, says decentralized policing has become imperative in addressing Nigerians' evolving security challenges. Idris further explained that strengthening the country's internal security structure must go hand in hand with strengthening national communication systems, particularly in an era where crises are shaped not only by events, but also by the rapid spread of information. He added that digital innovation is therefore central to timely, accurate and coordinated communication, especially during moments of national importance.
In your attempt to spread information, you also have to know that the person consuming that information also has right over it. Therefore, responsible use of whatever tool you are using is core in ensuring that you have what is called effective communication.
Earlier in his speech, Major General Chris Olukolade, retired, expressed appreciation to the minister for his support and encouragement towards advancing crisis communication reforms in Nigeria. He appealed for the minister's endorsement of the proposed National Crisis Communication Hub and Performance Index framework, which he described as critical to real-time monitoring, to coordinated responses to misinformation, and to strengthen institutional accountability.
Continuous training for journalists, public relations officers, security spokespersons was strongly recommended during that conference, particularly in the digital tools, advanced fact-finding and fact-checking, and early detection through AI-generated misinformation tools. So strengthening media literacy was identified as essential to combating misinformation and safeguarding public trust.
With growing insecurity demands and rising complexity of threats, Nigerians' shift towards state policing may not longer be optional, but inevitable. From Abuja, Sadia Yakubu for Global Television News.
Tension flared at the Senate as lawmakers expressed outrage over the failure of the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission to honor repeated invitations from the National Assembly. This was during the Senate's Committee on Finance 2026 Budget Defense Session and Interactive Meeting on the Economy. Our correspondent tells us more. Senator Orji Uzor Kalu moved a motion calling for the immediate sack of the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Hussaini Magaji, over what he described as persistent disregard and disrespect for the Senate. The motion was seconded by Senator Adams Oshomole, who supported calls for decisive action. Senator Kalu urged that the matter be escalated to President Bola Tinubu, seeking the urgent termination of the CAC boss appointment. He also called for the issuance of a warrant to compel the Registrar General to appear before the committee.
I want you to summon a warrant to bring him here. I will report him to Mr. President to either remove him, replace him, or he start obeying the Senate.
Move the motion, let Mr. come.
This man is not coming to the Senate. He's not above the law. This Minister of Finance and Minister of Budget.
In a separate motion, Senator Oshomole proposed that the CAC's budgetary allocation be withheld pending the Registrar General's appearance and clarification before the committee.
And given the fact that he has not accounted for revenue accrued to him and the expenditure he has secured, this Senate should decline to appropriate anything in 2026 budget until we are satisfied that he has properly accounted for previous money and spent, and the Senate is satisfied that he deserves to have any further appropriation.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, strongly criticized the Registrar General for repeatedly failing to honor invitations. He swiftly put it to a vote, but it failed to secure the required support of the committee.
He has constitutional rule, and this constitutional rule is that we are to oversight MDAs. Any MDA that we invite, almost every time, they will tell us they are in the villa. They are in the villa, taking excuses with the villa. And even Mr. President does not does not guarantee any head of MDA not responding to National Assembly.
The committee subsequently continued with its proceedings, leaving the issue unresolved and the fate of the CAC Registrar General uncertain. From the National Assembly, Aniye Patrick, reporting for Global TV News. Away from legislative matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission has approved and issued a revised timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general elections, following the enactment of the Electoral Act 2026. The Commission says the adjustment was necessary to align with the new statutory timelines introduced under the revised law. Under the new arrangement, the presidential and National Assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, 16 January 2027, while the governorship and state houses of assembly elections are scheduled for Saturday, 6 February 2027. The Commission further stated that party primaries, including the resolution of disputes arising from them, will run from 23rd April to 30th May 2026. Campaigns for the presidential and National Assembly elections will commence on 19th August 2026, while campaigns for governorship and state houses of assembly elections will begin on 9th September 2026. Meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress ADC has rejected the updated 2026 to 2027 electoral timetable released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, describing it as a political instrument designed to disadvantage opposition parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, the party said the timeline effectively creates barriers for opposition participation. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered that a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, his wife Asabe Bashir, and his son Abdulaziz should be remanded in prison custody pending the determination of their bail applications. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik ordered their remand after the ex-AGF and his co-defendants were rearraigned on a 16-count money laundering charge brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The court said Malami and Abdulaziz should be kept in Kuje prison in Abuja, while Asabe should be remanded in Suleja prison in Niger State, where they have facilities for female inmates. The Armed Forces of Nigeria has intensified nationwide operations, recording major gains against terrorism, kidnapping, and oil theft in February 2026. Director of the Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, says troops arrested 85 suspects and rescued over 400 hostages in coordinated missions across the theaters of operation. Defense correspondent Kike Lomo-Okere was there for Global TV.
In the northeast, joint offensive against Boko Haram and ISWAP led to the interception of vehicles loaded with terrorist logistics, including materials for improvised explosive device. The Director of Defense Media Operations rules out that under Operation Fasanyama, troops rescued 21 victims, arrested 36 suspects, and secured 251 hostages during clearance operations, while Operation Wild Stroke recorded 49 arrests and 32 rescues, alongside recovery of arms and ammunition to disrupt criminal networks.
Furthermore, on the 23rd of this month, troops intercepted a Toyota pickup laden with vehicle spares and fabrics destined for Boko Haram elements, alongside a truck carrying 460 bags of fertilizers in Badi local government area of Yobe State. What is the significance of fertilizers? Fertilizers, as you know, is one of the key components for making IED bombs. So it is important for us to have a control of fertilizers in the northeast so that they will not.
The director further explained that in the Niger Delta, Operation Delta Safe led to the seizure of illegal firearms and the recovery of over 144,000 liters of stolen crude oil and 31,601 liters of AGO. He says the operations are part of the sustained effort to restore security, protect economic assets, and stabilize affected communities.
The maritime and land components, as well as other security agencies, dismantled crude petroleum processing equipment, thus safeguarding our national assets.
The armed forces reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining pressure on criminal elements while urging citizens to support security agencies with timely and credible information. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
And to Benue State government has launched a comprehensive peace and reconciliation strategic plan, calling on stakeholders to adopt community-driven initiatives to promote peace, social cohesion, and the security of lives and property. The unveiling took place at the Benue Peace Summit held at Government House, Makurdi. Our correspondent Felicity Ndere tells us more.
The launch of the Benue Peace and Reconciliation Strategic Plan 2026-2030 brings together government officials, traditional leaders, security agencies, farmers, pastoralists, and international partners to build safer communities and boost livelihoods.
It will be locally informed peace building. It will no longer be we take from abroad and bring to the state.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by his deputy, Sam Ode, described the strategic plan as a product of wide consultations across critical sectors of society.
At the heart of this strategic plan is a bold, achievable vision. And the vision is a peaceful, secure, and stable Benue, where communities coexist in harmony, conflicts are resolved through dialogue and justice, and development can thrive for all.
Minister of Livestock Development, Idi Maiha, praised the initiative and assured federal government support, while a representative of the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Moses Gara, called for continued stakeholders' collaboration to tackle insecurity.
One important factor we need to understand in this country, and that has to be a central pillar of our national security agenda, is the issue of idle and disillusioned youth. And we have opportunities in the livestock sector today to absorb all this idle and disillusioned youth.
The change of narrative is at the base of what we want to achieve. To change the existing narrative that does not leave room for peace or negotiation.
Pledged traditional rulers' support for the peace process and urged for the safe return of displaced persons. While the team lead, Tetra Tech Spring Program, Dr. Okoha Okoiwo, highlighted the summit's role in strengthening inclusive peace building and coordinated responses.
To us, the barometer and the measure that we have peace has returned to Benue is when all these IDP camps are closed down. They are not part of Benue culture.
We are supporting a number of initiatives to ensure that farming systems improve, farming systems become climate smart, and that farmers and pastoralists work more collaboratively and in an integrated process.
With the unveiling of the strategic plan, stakeholders say the task now shifts from planning to implementation as Benue charts a new course towards lasting peace and stability. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Watching the live broadcast of Meet the News. The Meet the News continues after this weather forecast plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. Dust-laden northeasterly winds continue to influence the atmospheric condition in the northern states. For Saturday, moderate dust haze with horizontal visibilities ranging between 2,000 to 5,000 meters is expected in parts of Katsina, Kano, Yobe, Jigawa, and parts of Kebbi states. And as always, residents sensitive to dust particles are advised to take necessary precaution. To other parts of the north and north central, conditions will be slightly dusty. while the inland cities will experience a hazy atmosphere with some few cloud cover. Later during the day, there are chances of thunderstorms along the coastal parts of Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, parts of Edo, Delta, and Cross River states. Stay with us for temperature forecast. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
In business, Nigeria accounted for 52% of Africa's crude oil exports to the United States in 2025, supplying 46.6 million barrels out of the continent's total 89.3 million barrels. According to U.S. Census Bureau data, although Nigeria's export volume declined year on year, its share of Africa's shipments to the U.S. rose from 49% in 2024, reflecting its dominant position among African suppliers. In value terms, Nigeria's crude exports to the U.S. fell to $3.545 billion from $4.458 billion the previous year, mirroring a broader decline in Africa's total export earnings. Meanwhile, the joint investigative hearing of the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Petroleum Resources have been temporarily suspended following concerns by the Minister of Petroleum Resources over insufficient documentation and late notification to the ministry. Well, lawmakers say the adjournment is necessary to ensure a comprehensive engagement with all relevant agencies when the session resumes fully. And on the foreign scene, the United States and Israel have launched coordinated strikes on targets in Iranian cities, with explosions reported in parts of Tehran amid heightened tensions over Iran's nuclear and missile programs. U.S. President Donald Trump said the operations aim to eliminate imminent threats, while Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz described the action as preventive. Iran closed its airspace alongside Iraq and Israel as blasts were heard across the capital, though there were no immediate confirmation of casualties. Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has told the congressional panel she had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, as she called for lawmakers to question President Donald Trump under oath about his past association with a late sex offender. The former First Lady and her husband Bill had resisted a subpoena from the panel, dismissing its politically motivated before agreeing to testify as potential contempt of Congress proceedings loomed against them. And in sports, Super Eagles goalkeeper Amas Abosoge has been suspended for 3 months by Tanzanian club Singida Black Stars over allegations of match fixing. The club said the suspension would allow for investigations days after a late error by the goalkeeper in a league match sparked controversy. Obasogi, who was part of Nigeria's squad at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, becomes the latest Nigerian player to face scrutiny over integrity-related concerns in football. And that's it on Meet the News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Anieti Patrick. Thank you for watching.